Hey, my happy shiny puppies. This is Melody Fletcher, your go-to for everything law of attraction and reality creation. And today I've got a treat for you. What follows is an excerpt from one of our live Q&A calls where people just like you, students just like you, were able to ask me questions and I answered them. And today you're going to get one of those. And as you see in the coming weeks, we're going to be rolling out more and more of these. And if you'd like the chance to be a part of one of these Q&A calls for free, then stay to the end of the video and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. All right, I'll see you on the other side. Bye.
So the big question is this: how do we, those of us who feel deep down that we're much more powerful than we've been led to believe, and that there is something to this law of attraction stuff, actually create our own realities? What's the process of simply stepping into the reality of our choice? What about those of us who need this process to make logical, intellectual sense? My name is Melody Fletcher. You've got questions about the technology of reality, and I've got the answers. Welcome to my channel where the law of attraction finally makes some freaking sense.
Yes, we have spoken before. Not for a while though.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, honey?
Good. So I had one question, but you kind of changed my question. So I'm going to ask about something else. So you talked about that you had some time you took away to get inspired to figure out where you wanted to go with your content and your business. So as you know, I had started a business a couple years ago, trying to help lawyers, stressed out lawyers. And by doing that, I kind of discovered that I really like being a lawyer, which was kind of strange. And I've been more focused on that now. And I haven't been able to really focus on the business, but I've done like, I've written stuff in like lawyer magazines, like the American Bar Association. I've talked at like seminars. So I know people like it, but I just can't get myself motivated enough to really take the step to make it into something that is actually bringing in consistent income. And so I guess my question for you is, what did you do to kind of like take a step back and figure out what you needed to do to figure out what steps to take and to stop getting I'm so in my head about like, I have all these ideas, I'm passionate about it, but I don't know where to go.
Yeah. So when I'm in a situation where what I'm doing, whatever I'm doing isn't really working for me anymore, and it happens frequently. For those of you who've been with me for a long time, you can see my entire blog go through this iteration again and again and again, where I'm posting regularly. Suddenly I stop posting. I come back and we're doing something new now. And then, and then I'm all excited again. Right.
Right.
Because things change, sometimes subtly, sometimes big. Yeah. Sometimes we're doing something completely different. But when I find myself in a situation, which doesn't feel good, by the way, because it feels kind of frustrating, kind of unsatisfying, right? Where I'm just not inspired. I first of all, I have to recognize this is not working. Whatever I'm doing here is not working. I don't know what else to do, that's an uncomfortable bit. I don't know what else to do, but this is not working. And that's a big step. That's a big part of it, is coming to that realization where you realize, like, what is bothering me? Oh, it's this. I don't want to do this anymore, right? And then I go from really general. I start with really general. So I let myself kind of get into that general feeling of I will figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I know that something will come in. Yeah, how do I want it to feel? I want to feel really good. And I get back in touch with the excitement I have around my big vision. What is the big reason, my big why? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is it that I want to affect in the world? And I take out anything that might come in there about what I might have to do that. Yeah. So all my action gets taken out because I don't want any of it to become like, oh, and then I have to do this and I have to do this. And maybe I don't want to do that right now, but I have to do. No, I don't have to do anything. Yeah. I have this big vision. So I see a happy, shiny puppy army just taking over the world like a wave of light. Right. And there's all kinds of visuals along with that, but really just like a lighting up of the world. And if I can do my part in helping people understand this and make it easier for them, then I'm very, very happy to do that. But I don't need to be very specific in exactly how I have to do that because it changes. It's malleable, right? It just is changing again. Now I'm like, I want to talk to you guys. I'm sick and tired of sitting in my office by myself trying to come up with content. Like, just fucking ask me something, right? And it's way more fun for me. And I think it's way more fun for you guys too. So yay, right? And hopefully we'll create even more valuable content. But that kind of stuff, for me, it occurs to me. I have to create that void where it can enter. So I have to stop trying to do things in a specific way because that's the only way I know to do that in that moment. Right? And so, and back off and kind of go, what do I want to do? Because it isn't about finding the thing that you should do or the thing that will work. It's what is it that I really want to do? How do I want to do this? And that's not always going to be logical. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, I'll give you another example from my own business, which is going to make sense to you guys. But, you know, everyone's on social media. Social media is really big. I completely and totally suck at social media. And every business conference I go to, my colleagues will go, you really need an Instagram account. You really need to do this. You really need to do that. You need to overhaul your Facebook strategy. I know we don't have a good Facebook strategy, but guess why not? Because Melody doesn't fucking use social media. I am never on Twitter. I'm only on Facebook for professional purposes. I do not give a shit what you had for lunch yesterday. Yeah? And so I use it to kind of keep in touch with a few people, but I don't go on their feed and see what they're doing. I'll just message them, or it's a great way to like keep them in my Rolodex, so to speak. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's very difficult for me to get any enthusiasm up for social media, particularly when so much of it is so fake and I don't want to buy into any of that. Right. And so logically, I should be having a social media strategy. We should be posting. I should be Instagramming all over the place. I should force myself to do that. Right. Mm-hmm. But that's not what I want to do. I'm not drawn to that. Yeah. And it's not that I don't see the benefits of allowing people into your life and sharing your life, but also you guys got to realize that for when I'm not traveling, my life is not that exciting. It's a lot of sitting at my computer. How do you Instagram that? Well, you fake it, right? Right. You go and look for opportunities to take that cool selfie so that, oh, it looks like I'm having an exciting life. I'm not willing to do that. That's out of integrity for me. Mm. Yeah. But I also know that in the grand scheme of things, this isn't going to hurt my big vision, because if it was necessary, I would be inspired to do it. If I'm not inspired to do it, it's not necessary.
Okay. And as a follow-up to that, how do you get past like your upper limit? So for example, I'm a lawyer and I have a lot of guilt, and I'm figuring out that a lot of the reason that I'm not moving forward with the business is I feel like I can't have both, or I'm not allowed to have both, or that people will view me in a certain way. Like, you're a lawyer, why do you want more? So how do you kind of
I don't think anyone's going to say you're a lawyer, why do you want more? Because your reputation has a real, you know, your profession has a real reputation for being greedy bastards. So I think even the greedy ones will get it. So I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that. But, you know, why do you think that you might not be allowed to have more?
Well, I think that there's maybe like a perception, and like not even necessarily an accurate one, that lawyers are just like super rich, high rollers, super, like you said, greedy bastards, and like super selfish. And so if I'm trying to bring mindfulness and stress management into the profession, which is fairly new.
Why are you buying into that? That's them. That's their view that lawyers are greedy bastards. Why are you buying into that?
Well, I guess I feel like I won't be taken seriously because it'll be seen as disingenuous. Like, this person just wants money. Like, they're already, you know, a lawyer. So why do they want to do more?
You're discounting the fact that they will either resonate with what you're saying or not. And if they resonate with what you're saying and they're resonating with your energy and they're recognizing the intent behind it and what's happening and it's their manifestation, they won't question you. Yeah.
That's huge.
It doesn't matter if they, you know, if they don't believe it, they're not going to believe it from you or anyone else.
Wow.
Yeah. And if they're ready for it and you put up your hand and go, anybody who's ready for that manifestation, I'm happy to volunteer to bring that in for them. Yeah. And then your universe brings you together. I have had plenty of clients who are lawyers, plenty of them. Yeah. And they're wonderful people, high vibing and struggling to bring that energy into their practices. And that's what we worked on. How do you bring this into your practice? You're a lawyer and you called me.
I did.
Do you really think you're that much of a unicorn?
No.
Yeah. There are others. They may not be talking about it publicly. Yeah. I have doctors. I have lawyers. I have biochemists. I have PhDs. I'm kind of fucking blows my mind, quite frankly, right? But I have Harvard, Ivy League educated, someone from Harvard, Ivy League educated clients. Now, many of them will not go to their colleagues and go, I'm into the law of attraction, but they're super into it.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be a lot more lawyers than you think who are into this and who are really happy for somebody to translate it more into their language so that they don't have to go, I listen to Abraham, I listen to Melody Fletcher, which I'm not quite as wiggy as Abraham or somebody else who channels, but still weird enough, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's good to have more people to build that bridge of how do you engage with this information. And, you know, one of the big things that I always get is people say, you know, I don't have anybody to talk to about this. I don't have anybody to talk to about this. And when you become the person that they can talk to about this, it's such a gift. Because they want to strengthen that belief. They want to talk to people about this. They want to get that point of view. They need that point of view from somebody in order to help them believe it more, believe in their own empowerment, you know, whatever angle you want to take on that. And so do not think for a second that they will kind of go, oh God, what is wrong with you? It's much more likely you're going to have people coming out of the woodwork going, thank you. Thank you. Finally. Yeah. You give me courage. Yeah. And why would you expect them to come out of the closet, so to speak, yeah, with this, if you are not willing to? Yeah?
Absolutely.
You got to do it first. You got to do it first. Yeah? And we just saw here, in the comments, Samson, non-greedy, non-rich, non-bastard lawyer here. So there's at least one. Yeah?
We found another one.
Exactly. There's plenty of them out there. I meet them all the time. Yeah. Just because that's a reputation, you know that that's not true. Come on. You know that that's not true.
Yeah.
So plenty of lawyers are really good people.
Absolutely.
You know, in my experience, most people who become lawyers do not become lawyers just for the money. Right. Yeah. They become lawyers because they want to advocate. They want to help people. They want to right wrongs. They want justice. They're for the most part. Now, of course, that can get twisted over time. And then if you feel like you can't do any good, and then, you know, fuck it, I guess I'll just get mine, right? But for the most part, lawyers are helpers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is where, you know, in other languages, in Spanish, it's abogado, it's advocate. It comes from advocate. What is an advocate? Someone who stands up for other people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And isn't that what lawyers do?
Right.
When you defend someone in court and you know the court system and your client doesn't, and they wouldn't ever be able to navigate that, but you know exactly what to do, you are advocating for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're their protector. You're their gladiator in that moment. What a noble profession. It just got a bad reputation because, yeah, a few bastards mess it up for everybody. And that's usually true. It's true for police officers. It's true for, you know, politicians. It's true for all kinds of anybody who has a bad reputation. Yeah. It's because we take those few and we say, that's it. And these are all a huge group of human beings, varied experiences, varied belief systems. We can't just lump them all into one and say all lawyers are bastards. You know, they're not. Mm-hmm. And they're human beings, and just like all other human beings, they're waking up too. And imagine what a woke, and I hate that word woke, by the way, because it's so misused, but an awakened, conscious lawyer could do in our society. Mm. Imagine what good you all could do. Yeah, because you know the rules. You know how it works. You start fixing that from the inside out. Are you kidding me? That is world change right there. We need you. We need you and your kind to step the fuck up. Yeah, go get those lawyers, create a happy, shiny puppy lawyer army, and change the world. We need you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm just so caught up in the how, but as we all know, I can't get caught up in it. You know, I can't get caught up in it. That's your big vision. So you hang on to your big vision, and from that place of enthusiasm, the next step will appear, the next step will appear, the next step will appear. Yeah. But do not think for a second that you're not doing important work here. And that you get to bow out of this. You do not get to bow out anymore. Mm. You step forward or you will be dissatisfied, very dissatisfied. Thank you so much as always.
You're welcome. Didn't think we were going to have a positive rant on lawyers today, did we? Never know where it's going to take us.
All right. Thank you so much, Melody. Have a great one.
You're so welcome. We're so great talking to you again, Cheyne.
Look at you. You made it all the way to the end of the video. Good for you. So if you'd like a chance to be part of these Q&A calls that we do for free, then all you have to do is get onto my email list. People on my email list get free gifts like this. In fact, I'll even give you another free gift for getting onto my email list, which changes periodically. So I'm not going to tell you what it is so that I can change it, but just check the description down below. Get onto my email list, get your valuable free gift, and you will be invited to take part of one of these Q&A calls yourself where you can ask me whatever you want. Sound like a good deal? I think so. So sign up now, get invited to Q&A call, and get your own answers. Until then, enjoy the videos every week. Thank you for bringing your light to the world.